We have an update about the dad who absolutely went berserk when his son did a hobby a little different. So let me tell you the story. There is a family. There is 6 kids that participate in a family hobby with their father, who is extremely particular. And if you do anything with this hobby out of line or not the right way, his way, he'll freak out at you. Well, one time his son did it his own way. The dad blew up at him in front of everybody. He was just like mortified. He just decided, I don't have to take this. I have my own family of my own. So he walked away. Well, he got home and his phone blew up. The sibling group chat just exploded. And instead of the siblings like, oh my gosh, I can't believe dad did that. Like, way to go. You finally stood up for yourself or for us or whatever. It was totally opposite. They broke this guy down. Like, you ungrateful. How could you do this to our father? Get your butt back over here and apologize to him. I mean, they just were ruthless and they wouldn't stop. Like, it just kept coming and coming. And that's when they reached out to our community like, what is this? Like they said in their email, it's like, it felt like an army had come to just attack him. And these were his brothers. So he was just beside himself, like totally in shock, kind of traumatized, didn't know what to do, how to handle the siblings, really, truly hurt. And our advice, like the community and like what I said was, first, I would just send one message in the group and then I would silence it. I would just simply say, like, I did nothing wrong. He was extremely disrespectful to me. I walked off. That's all I've done. Like, I'm not ungrateful. I wouldn't get caught up in the drama. Just kind of like say your little bit of what happened, the facts, and then just let the dust settle, which it has. But before I get to their update, I want to say that what happened here is obviously his dad either has some neurological differences or he's emotionally immature and he thinks his way is the only way, the right way. And you might know this feeling of the minions or the army coming to attack you, because what happens is when an emotionally immature person feels rejected, slighted, disrespected in any way, they go and tell family their version of events that makes them the victim and you the big bad villain. So even though they were all there, they might not have witnessed just like the blow up. They might have been off doing the hobby somewhere else. But the father's version of events made the siblings feel like, oh my gosh, like we got to go get him. We got to stand up for dad. We got to help dad. That's how it always happens. This pattern is so predictable. It's every time it happens this way when you're dealing with an emotionally immature person. They react dramatic, impulsive. It's big, it's ugly. They blame shift and then they story twist where something happened to them. They're the victim. They're the one, like in the right. You're in the wrong. But the story is so outrageous that your family has no other, like they can't doubt them. There's like, wow, this is crazy. And they see them just suffering. They just feel so compelled to come and just pound it into you to go back and apologize to the emotionally immature person. And in this case, the father, like, go make it right. I can't believe you did this to him. So that's kind of what happens. It happens so predictable in every situation when you're dealing with an emotionally immature person. And it's because the way they tell the story to your family, they don't even question like, oh, that doesn't even sound like their character. They just come and it feels like an attack. It feels like a herd of minions, an army. That's how it feels like. And you might be all the way in your early 30s before you actually feel that. That's what some people don't realize is it's such a jarring, shocking event to have happen to you. It is traumatic because you have this whole group of family that knows who you are, and then they're accusing you of doing stuff that you would never do, but it's based on the story twist, the story that they were told by the injured party, the emotionally immature parent or person in the family. It's absolutely wild. So now the update. Because that's what happened. And then the update is They did. The son did go back to the sibling group chat, basically just corrected him, like, that's not what happened. This is what happened. I need space. I'm stepping away from the group. I will not be responding. And he didn't. He just like let it quiet down. A few months passed. They were able to move out of the dad's rental property. That was another thing that made it so tense. They were like, what's going to happen? Like, we're pregnant. Is he going to kick us out? Like, they were so nervous about the backlash, like the level of backlash. But they were able to move out. They were able to get their own home without any co-signing from the dad, so no control, like no ties. It's their own thing. They had a baby. So that's all good. And the parental relationship, so the relationship with the son and the father, that's fine. Like, they were able to get back on track just fine. But the siblings, so the son that was like unleashed on, he doesn't feel the same about his siblings. Like, he got to see a different side of them. And when you see that side of your family come at you with such viciousness, and I've seen it up close, it's the most heartbreaking, awful thing you could ever see. It's so awful. It's hard for that person then to go back to the family and feel safe. And I think that's what he's experiencing. So at this point, he has set his own personal boundaries. He barely interacts in the sibling group chat where they like are very, very active, and he used to be, but now he barely like interacts with them. He's pretty distant. And that is because that's a natural consequence to what they did to him. Like, they really made him feel like, oh my gosh, even if we do heal and we get back on track, what's to say you don't do this to me again the next time I stand up for myself and I don't let our father just, treat me like I have no self-respect or dignity. Like, you'll turn on me again. So it's just not a safe relationship. So now he has distance with them, and that's how it shook out. So I wanted to give you an update, and again, just kind of lay out that pattern just in case you don't realize, like, oh, that's what's happening every time. So whenever you make an emotionally immature person feel slighted, rejected, abandoned, anything like that, they then go to your family and they tell them their version of events, which is always outrageous. It's so like, that did not happen kind of thing. Like, their version of reality is so distorted, but it's also just like, well, who would make up a story like this? So family just automatically believes, they rush to their defense, and they try to squeeze you back into like submission so that you submit, go back into line, go back and apologize, make things right. It's an awful experience, and it's very traumatic the first time it happens to you. And like I said, you might not go against that emotionally immature person until you might be like your early 30s. That's what happened to our family. It was like, we're in our 30s, and that was the first time we butted up against it, and it was insane. And it was so heartbreaking for my loved one to realize like how quick family would turn on them, and they never even questioned, like, this doesn't even sound like them. Could they even do that? They didn't even question it. They just tried to eat my loved one alive to get them to go back and apologize to the emotionally immature person. It's hard. So I just wanted to lay it out there. That's our update. And yeah, if you have any updates, let us know.